Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli with Little Blue. And continuing on, of course, with the Mandalorian marathon. Now, of course, we're up to episode 6. And that is, well, of course, as it's called, chapter 6. Chapter 6, The Prisoner. And this is the one where, go ahead. You talk about it, chapter 6, so.
Well, probably to sum it up, Mando needs money.
Yeah.
So he reaches out to an old colleague, a former colleague in his gun running days when he was a little more
Right.
probably left of the law than what he is now,
Yes.
and reaches out to him and decides that he's going to do a job for him.
Right.
So evidently his former partner is a little vague about what the job is, other than to just acquire an asset that they were trying to recover. Well, it turns out that it's a criminal who's been taken prisoner by the New Republic,
Yep.
and they have to spring him loose from a New Republic prison ship,
Right.
heavily guarded by New Republic droids.
Yep. And at least with one rebel crewman, so
Right, and so
who played by, and that is cameo by Matt Lantern, who voiced Anakin in the Clone Wars. So
Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
that's cool. That's cool. Like, say one of the actors who voiced the characters in the animated shows has a cameo in live action or something like that. Plays a character in live action.
exactly.
Want to see more of that? So
The real problem is with his the people that his former partner teams him up with.
yeah.
Uh,
Do we even remember some of their names at all?
don't I could probably think about the female who is
the letter X is in there.
but her species, we've seen it before in other Star Wars.
Tweagle, or I don't think I'm saying that right.
Not sure, but looks like they have trunks coming out of their
Yeah,
head.
yeah. But I really forget the name of I forget how you pronounce that.
One of the Jedi Knights was that species.
Ayla Sakura.
Ayla Sakura was that species.
Yes,
right.
and this one, in this episode, played by Natalatina, who is Tonks in the Harry Potter films.
Right.
Yes, and she was good in that part as playing this character.
Yeah, she was very good.
Very feisty.
Very evil.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. As I said, very feisty.
Exactly.
And then you have this one alien character, with the horns up top. Like the same species we saw in New Hope in the cantina.
Yeah. When the cantina, his eyes are shifting. His eyes are real shifty. Basically, looks like Satan.
Yeah.
And then
there's a name for that species, but I can't remember, of course.
And then the
can't forget Clancy Brown plays him.
Yeah. And then the other one is the humanoid, the one humanoid who's basically the leader of the group.
Right, yeah.
And,
the bald one.
Yeah, and he.
But there's also the droid,
Yeah.
named. Well, I know this. He has numbers. You know how some droids they have numbers to them.
Yeah.
But it's 0 for short, I guess.
Yeah, 0 for short.
It's the only one I can remember the name of that group. So
even as a droid, he's questionable.
He kind of remains on the ship. So
right, you put Mando in this, and you thought, oh, this is not going to end well.
At some point, later on in the episode, that's when Denjar, am I saying that?
Denjar, yeah.
He's gonna totally snap at them. So
Yeah, well, basically
totally ditch them and betray them. So
well, basically, what happens is they double cross him.
Oh yeah.
After they free the prisoner that they're after.
Yeah,
that turns out to be the brother.
That's right, the brother.
You end up, he ends up double crossing them, which was well deserved. He could have killed him, but he didn't.
Yeah, that's kind of a big surprise. He, at the end of the episode, we see they're in the prison. They're in the prison cell. So
yeah, and and then his old partner tries to double cross him. But then again, Mando wins in the end because he double crossed him. So without giving away too much,
Well, I mean, they would have seen this episode by now. So
sure,
and then, the distress beacon or something,
exactly,
and brings in the X-wings.
The 3 X-wing pilots that were 3 directors from the series.
Yes, the director of this episode, what's his face, and also Deborah Chow and Dave Filoni.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all three of them are great directors.
I don't think the first time I saw this episode when it came out, I don't think I didn't recognize Dave Filoni at first.
No, I didn't either. I recognized Deborah Chow though.
Yeah, I did recognize Matt Lantern. I'm pretty sure. So
yeah, some of those characters are real fun to try to recognize.
And I believe so in the behind the scenes, and it was in the documentary of the making of Mandalorian. Like the X-wing that all three directors got in was the same cockpit of the X-wing.
Yeah, they were all. It was all the same cockpit.
It was like it was a full time. It was like a full built X-wing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be after it was used for those shots of the X-wing pilots. It was shipped over to I think at Disneyland at
really?
Galaxy's Edge. So they covered that before in the documentary. So
okay, yeah, I remember that now.
That's right.
Very cool.
And those moments. Anything else?
No, I was just looking up at the snow speeder hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah,
it reminds me of the backlot tour at Disney World.
Yeah,
when there's a speeder. Just I don't know if it's still in the same place. I'm sure it's been moved, but it's just lying on the ground.
Yeah, that
on the back lot.
Yeah, also
the same speeder that you see Luke Skywalker get out of.
Mark Hamill, yep.
On when they did Empire Strikes Back, because it has the glass is busted in the same place where it is on the
glass busted.
Yeah, there's in the canopy. You see where the glass is busted, where he had to crash land it, and it's that same glass is busted on that particular mock-up of that snow speeder. So that had to be the same one they used in the movie.
Yeah. So, but also in the back lot there, what were those vehicles like in Return of the Jedi, and that Luke and the others they hijacked, because of the Sarlacc pit scene.
Oh yeah,
those things.
Yeah, exactly. Those are back there too.
Yeah, that was in the backlot tour as well. But also in chapter 6, like the scenes with the child,
Yeah, the child it's funny, some of the scenes, and then at the end when Mando barely escapes, and you can just see it, he just breathes a sigh of relief. He's just so glad to be out of the mess, that he got into.
Right.
And then he turns to the child and he says, "I told you that was a bad idea." Like it was the child's idea.
Yeah.
He knew. He knew he had made a mistake, but he got out.
But also the moment with the child, and him facing off against the droid Zero.
Yeah, the droid. It was a kind of a close call for the child, because he's having to basically play hide and seek to save his life from Zero.
Pretty much, yeah.
Zero's ready to kill him.
Yep.
And he's about to. And you see the child, do this, and
yeah, he had his eyes closed.
He had his eyes closed, and the droid basically explodes in front of him, and it was Mando shooting him from behind.
Yeah, and remember the child, he looked at his hand like, "Oh, did I do that?"
Exactly. That was a funny scene, a really funny scene. That and the very end when Mando says, "I told you that was a bad idea."
Yeah. And because that to those he teamed up with, and he didn't kill them. He put them all in the cell.
Exactly.
It's like you were talking about this. We were talking about this. Like they'll definitely be coming back at some point.
Yeah, I have a feeling
coming after Din Djarin.
I have a feeling they're going to get out, and that's who they're coming after.
Well, and Din Djarin can still take care of them, no doubt about it. So
he did once before.
Yeah, not just him, but the child as well.
Exactly. So it's going to be interesting when season 2 starts.
Who knows if they'll appear? If not, then maybe the next season. Who knows?
Yeah, in just a few short days. In fact.
Yep.
It's hard to say exactly.
As we're recording this, and as you're watching. Yeah. What were you saying?
It's hard to say exactly what he's going to get into. What situations, and I don't know if anybody's really talked about this or not, but we could end up with a cliffhanger in season 2, which would be really cool.
Yeah, and that'll be something.
Yeah.
It's like that could drive us fans nuts. Like, oh my gosh, we have to wait another season.
Well, you've never lived until you had to live between the 2 seasons the Star Trek Next Generation episode, Best of Both Worlds.
Yeah.
When that famous last words, Mr. Worf, fire.
And then it cuts to black.
And it says,
executive producer to be continued, executive producer Gene Roddenberry, that kind of stuff. Like, that's like that moment. Are you kidding me?
That was the one time that I almost picked something up and threw it at the TV screen. I was so mad. And had to wait months. Absolutely had to wait months until we found out.
At least had to wait months,
Yeah, but now you watch it and it's like, oh, okay, go to the next episode. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that simple anymore.
Yeah.
But
I mean, season 1 of Mandalorian didn't leave off on a cliffhanger, really. Just
no, it didn't. It sort of rounded out,
Yeah. And for basically, I guess another thing is like for what's to come next season, because Moff Gideon, he has the dark saber and so on.
Yeah, a lot of answers left, a lot of questions left unanswered, I should say.
Yeah.
And yeah, Moff Gideon is definitely the random element in all this. You don't know where he's going to show up. You don't know what's going to happen, but you know one thing: he is still after the child.
Exactly.
And he is definitely after Mando now.
Yeah.
As Mando wrecked his TIE fighter.
Yep. Well, and he can get another one, so.
Well, of course, but he.
I mean, Moff Gideon is a Moff, basically. So.
Yeah. So he's as a Moff, he's got a lot of power.
Oh yeah.
Moff would be the equivalent of governor. That's their term for governor.
Yeah, just like with Tarkin,
M-O-F.
Just like with Tarkin, like
F or M-O-F. Is it 2 F's or 1 F?
It's 2 F's.
Yeah, because Grand Moff Tarkin.
I was about to say, because Tarkin, he was called
Governor Tarkin,
but also Grand Moff Tarkin. I guess.
But I don't think you ever hear that in the movie. You never heard him referred to as Grand Moff Tarkin, but that's how you always saw his name in credits and things. The toys and anything you saw written down, it was Grand Moff Tarkin.
Right.
But it was really
Tarkin.
Governor Tarkin.
So what,
So we could say...
And again, the word Moff is another term, I guess, for governor or something like that, like someone high or something.
Yeah, it would be someone in a very high position.
Right, yeah.
And in the case of, where the Empire, the old Republic was, as Governor Tarkin put it, was swept away. Remnants of the old Republic was swept away, and they were one of the officers asked Governor Tarkin, how will the systems maintain control? How will the Emperor maintain control of the systems and
bureaucracy?
And he said the regional governors
yes
will be in charge of controlling the individual systems. So each of those individual governors would be referred to as a Moff.
Right.
So you have to assume that Moff Gideon is one of those regional governors.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So, right. So anyways, and anything else to say on episode 6?
Nope. That's it.
We've pretty much covered everything, so.
Think so?
Yep. So chapter 6, The Gunslinger, it's a good episode, don't you think?
Very good episode, yeah.
Yeah, and bunch of those, bunch of the characters that, that Din Djarin was forced to team up with, I think they're pretty good, and it's obvious that they'll come back at some point.
Oh yeah,
especially because what happened to them at the end is guaranteed. Because they'll definitely come back. So
sure,
yep. So anyway, so that's our review of chapter 6, The Gunslinger. Only 2 more episodes to go.
Only 2 to go.
Yep. So we hope you enjoyed our review of the Mandalorian. More new review videos coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward. And continuing on with the Mandalorian Marathon, of course. Any last words?
I must be off.
Yep. Lil Blue says I must be off. For me, again, we hope you enjoyed our review of Chapter 6, The Gunslinger, and we will see you guys in the next video /review video. Take care. Peace out. And we have spoken.